Did Puma make two different shoes with the same name? The differences are enough for me to at least see these as different shoes. Keep in mind when you say one shoe has a composite plate versus one shoe has a carbon plate, what I actually think of is something similar to the Endorphin Speed versus the Endorphin Pro. So overall, I love this shoe from daily miles, speed sessions, hill repeats. I wouldn't necessarily use it for Welcome back to the Time to Run channel. I'm Joel. Thanks for joining me for another extended mile review, longevity test review. Not entirely sure what I'm going to be calling this, but regardless, after my first review of the Puma Deviate Nitro 2, I took this pair to the 150 mile mark or the 242 kilometer mark to test for you how the shoes performed for the long haul. Feel free to skip around using the chapters if you like. If there's something that piques your interest, I put a lot of work in these videos, so please let me know how the video was helpful to you by leaving a comment below. Just a disclosure or two before we get started, I've left Amazon affiliate links in the description for ease of access to find the shoe I'm talking about in this video. Please click on the link to find pricing through Amazon. There's no additional cost to you for using the link, but if you do make a purchase via the link, the seller actually sends me a small percentage my way as a courtesy of me helping bring you to their Amazon store. So be sure you check out the links below. Now, normally I'll cover disclosures for the shoe. However, I've covered disclosures for the shoe in the full review, and nothing has changed since then. So if you're concerned about disclosures, just head on over to the other video and check it out there. Now, today I'm going to be covering the longevity test, one of the most valued tests a consumer uses before purchasing a shoe, no matter how long they've been running. Speaking from experience, this was a test especially important to me when I started buying shoes more regularly, and as I tried building a shoe rotation. I found it was helpful in knowing I was getting a shoe that would last me a long time. I didn't have a rotation, so I relied heavily on the running community and reviewers that were in my position that I am in now to get me practical advice for my shoe purchases. So I'm taking the approach from how I liked shoe reviews back in the day, and I'm applying it to ones like these. So without further ado, my review of the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. Boom, 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 boom. So I want to cover the fit just to be clear. So as you know, those who have watched my original video, the regular fit fits a little more snugly around the lateral part of the shoe. It's a little bit more narrow than my preference even for a snug speed day shoe. It's more narrow than the ASICS Nova Blast 3, if that's helpful reference for you, in my men's size 12. It fits more closely to the Endorphin Pro that I've run in, and maybe even the Endorphin Speed, where it's just a little tight around the toes laterally. In contrast, the Speed 2 was a snug fit at the top of my toes. That's why I got the Deviate Nitro 2 in a wide and not a regular fit. And the fit at that point was perfectly dialed in, and I had zero issues using the wide. And just an added note here, just wanted to cover that the eyelets for the fit, I actually use these up here to make it a more snug fit too when I'm on my runs. And then the gusset for the tongue itself has been a really helpful and useful tool as well. Now, the colorways. They've changed the colorways quite a bit since I did my last review. While you will be able to find similar styles as mine on places like Amazon and Running Warehouse and so on and so forth, it appears that Puma themselves have nixed the Sunset Glow and a few other options in the wide version. The Sunset Glow appears only available to the regular fit version now, unlike before when this colorway was exclusive to the wide fit. So just a heads up on that. They've also added a whole plethora of other new colorways that you can pick from, and at this juncture there is only one colorway, at least here in the States, that you can get in the wide version, and it is just the black colorway. So although I was asking for that in the original review that they provided a black colorway, I didn't think that they would only just simply provide the single colorway of black. So now let's move on to the upper. The upper has held up very well. I've had zero issues with it whatsoever. It's still comfortable, breathable, and just stretchy enough, and it doesn't give me any kind of problems. There is also no notable wear seen in the upper. Still as vibrant and pretty clean as the day I bought it, at least in the front. The back is probably where I see the most discoloration has taken place, but overall it's stood the test of time. It's still super comfortable, and it's also worth mentioning, I haven't experienced any overstretching from this material either. It's held up quite well. And it's definitely one of my favorite uppers I've run in because of the forgiving materials, particularly above the toe box. As far as the midsole, it remains very comfortable. I've noticed it hasn't gone dead at all or losing any of its spring or bounce between the first miles to those I've run in most recently. I might even have to say I've enjoyed the miles even more after cresting over the 50-mile mark. Cosmetically, it looks a little more worn, of course, but that's to be expected. and doesn't indicate for me an overall lack of effectiveness of the materials. And just check out these areas and these creases on the external part of the midsole that really show off how the midsole is flexing and giving under my weight, condition of my stride, and foot placement. But like I said, the shoe is so enjoyable even now after 150 miles. So let's zoom in the outsole, which incidentally is where I see the most change took place compared against a new pair of Deviate Nitro 2s. From the first miles, I was fairly optimistic about the longevity of this outsole. Personally, I'm really hard on this lateral part of the outsole, and because this part takes the most amount of beating due to my body weight and landing and toe off, I really like these shoes. Between the plate's energy return and the midsole cushioning, it's certainly going down in the books for one of my favorite daily trainers. They're especially grippy on snow and general winter weather. There are many other factors to consider, but the long and short of it is if you're similar to my size and have a similar foot strike as me, you can expect to get similar results as me from the shoe, even though I see more wear at the bottom and even possibly more wear than I expected to see at 150 miles. These are all miles I've really enjoyed. You get a really comfortable experience with this specific shoe because of the flexibility of the materials. So just as previously mentioned, you probably already guessed it, a slightly more durable outsole. Puma got the traction dialed in. Now I'd prefer that they actually work on the durability. Another thing that they could offer that would be nice is the same materials between the wide and the regular fit shoe. Meaning I would prefer that they didn't offer a composite plate in the wide, meanwhile giving the regular foot shape fit a full carbon plate. Just make them both carbon. And lastly, I'd love to see this shoe with a Gore-Tex or waterproof upper. I know Puma offers their Seasons Fast Track shoes, but the Fast Track specifically is not waterproof, it's not plated, and it's not max cushion. It's actually more of a medium cushion. And then they offer the Voyage, which is a Gore-Tex shoe and is max cushion, but it doesn't offer a plate. So you're kind of really not getting all the benefits of the Puma Deviate Nitro 2 with a version like that. Let's wrap up some things. Would I buy it knowing what I know now about the shoe? 100% yes. I really love this shoe, from the daily miles to speed sessions and hill repeats. In my opinion, I'd be hard-pressed to find a shoe that's a good comparison, at least a shoe that I've recently run in. The Endorphin Speed 2 is probably the closest I've come to compare it to, but even then in my conversations with others like yourself who've commented that you've run in both, and you've mentioned that you like the outsole in Deviate Nitro 2 over the Endorphin Speed 2 and 3, and there's much more forgiving ride in there as well. Meanwhile, that others have said the experience with the Speed has lent it better for longer distances, and you've experienced the great all-in-one shoe, which certainly includes race days. The one caveat I mentioned is I haven't heard many of you mention that you've raced over 10K with this shoe, such as the half marathon and beyond. Whereas I have heard that being done in the Endorphin Speed line. Of those who have gone the half marathon distance or further have mentioned they didn't find it particularly helpful during the race compared to the Endorphin Speed 2 and 3. So just consider that when thinking about buying this shoe. Although I did find the Turkey Trot 5K I ran last Thanksgiving, and I won in my age group, third place I should say, I really prefer this to be a daily trainer or speed day trainer, and I don't think it would be super beneficial when there are other options out there. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced something similar or even have raced half marathons or even marathons in these. So where do I see that it fits into a runner's rotation? So some of you suggested it could be titled the best plated trainer, the best max cushion trainer, or the most versatile trainer. And I agree. I think all of these things could certainly be applied and titled for a video for the Deviate Nitro 2. Overall, I love this shoe, from daily miles, speed sessions, hill repeats, you name it. This is a really great daily trainer and a speed day shoe in my opinion. So that's about all I wanted to talk about after reaching 150 miles in the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. And now I'm looking forward to the release of the next iteration of the shoe whenever that rolls out. I hope you found this video helpful, and please remember, if you plan on making a purchase, please use one of my affiliate links from Amazon in the description box below. Check out my previous review of the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. Click on the link right up here. And if anyone asks you what your favorite running YouTube channel is, just tell them it's time to run.